Unlimited room space, which changed today. Instead of using a computer-generated program, she has decided to use an older form of visual aids. During the process, she discovered that it was fun and a big creative challenge for her to get away from the computer and get back to poster board and markers. Please welcome Charlotte Green.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This is a round to it. Take one and pass them on. A round to it. Round to it. Travel is my favorite hobby. Just give me a boarding pass, one of those itty-bitty bars of soap, or a bus tour of any city in the world, and I am a very happy camper. I like meandering through cities and exotic places, museums, and my mind muses about strange people, what they're wearing, the bags that they're carrying, and what they're possibly saying, usually in languages I don't understand. Another hobby of mine is photography. Now, I'm not a very good photographer. I merely use point-and-shoot method. I carry very small cameras. I would never be seen with one camera that big. I'm a person that takes snapshots. But my photography is along the line of the adage, even a blind squirrel sometimes finds an acorn. Sometimes I get some pretty good shots. About 5 years ago, I realized my travel photos were in total disarray. I hadn't organized, I was going into an electronic type of format. I'm a little slow in doing things, but I got around to it. And my round to it was travel photos. I organized, stored, and display my travel photos now. I've created a lasting resource that will bring back memories from vacations and adventures in exotic ports of call. I challenge you today to take the back of this round to it. If you have a messy corner in your life, write it down and get around to it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've organized, how I store and display my photos. Organization now is very easy for me. When I get home, I merely take out the memory card from my little camera, put it in the computer, and it drops everything into a folder. I used to leave everything from every trip in one big folder, but I've discovered it's kind of bulky and hard to deal with. So my organization technique is, for example, my trip to the Baltic States last October, I have 5 folders. I broke it down into a folder for Lithuania, one for Latvia, Estonia. Then we drove over to Russia. It was an incredible trip. We went to St. Petersburg and then flew down to Moscow. And those 2 cities are so different that I have folders for each of them. From these folders I can make numerous albums. I'm away from the old boxes and the old paper photos. It's wonderful. Along with organizing, I learned how to store my photos. My first line of storage, of course, is the computer. You put your photos in there, they're handy, they're stored. But in the blink of an electron, you can lose everything with a computer crash. So you need to have a backup. I like backups, so I have a lot of backups. You can use DVDs, memory cards, zip drives, external drives. I have the memory card. Now, I didn't start doing this initially with my photos, and I erased some of these. I reformatted it and used them again. But I've realized they're small, they're very inexpensive, and all of my photos are here. So when I get home, I take the case, I put a label on the back, and this little 4 gig card has all my photos from my Mongolia trip. Also, backups, you can use zip drives, like I said, and DVDs, but I don't use these too much anymore. I think they're on their way out. My next line of backup is the external hard drive. There's a terabyte here. Once I'm edited, I put my photos onto here, and they're good to go. The beauty of this thing is you don't need to keep it where your computer is. You can put distance between it, so this further gives you safety in backing up your photos. You could store it in a desk drawer at work. You can take it to a friend's house or a relative's house, or you can even put it in a safe deposit box at the bank if your photos are that precious to you. But I'm just learning that probably the best backup for my photos, and I started to use it a little bit, is the cloud. I put some photos on iCloud. I have space on Amazon Prime, Dropbox. There's just a bunch of services out there that you can get. And as long as you remember your passwords, you can get anywhere in the world. Now I display my photos. I have some DVDs, but like I said, these are on their way out. Social media, websites, blogs, albums. Some people still use the books and albums. This is from Cancun last year. A friend of mine made it for us. And it's a nice, handy little way to display your photos. But my favorite way to display photos now is right in my pocket, the smartphone. You know, I have a lot of travel albums on here. I don't know how many times I've turned this on and showed people a picture of my beautiful little quarter horse, another hobby of mine. We're talking about travel. I can open my photos, go through a few, and it kind of enlivens the conversation that I can show people places that I've been, and they often show me places that they've been. My favorite display technique is the tablet. Now, a tablet or an electronic album is wonderful. They have brilliant photos. You can put all of your albums on here. I open this up. If I want to look back at my Bhutan trip from 2008, I tap on the album, start the slideshow, maybe. And I see Mount Everest. We flew over this going into Thimphu. The Buddhist kings, they're the last Buddhist kingdom on earth. Archery is their national sport. I love my tablet and displaying photos with this. Organizing, storing, and displaying photos, it's important to me in my travel. I hope you realize a messy corner in your life, you got around to it today, so write it down. You know, one thing that I realized making this presentation today was how much I really enjoy looking at my photos. I envision myself someday, if I'm unable to travel maybe orthopedically or financially or maybe psychologically, sitting around the old folks' home with my photos and saying, I have no idea where in the world that is.
Great.